let's get to it. We're going to take this Racing Champion 63 pink Corvette and remove the tires and engine out of it, and then hoods with a different car and swap wheels with a different car and swap engine with a different car, which will be this Champion 63 Corvette Kellogg's car with regular wheels from the Stock Rod edition. Get the pink Corvette that she wants. Okay, so we've already taken apart the Kellogg's Stock Rod car. We're going to remove the engine from it. Now, interestingly enough, this one had a metal bottom. And let's open up this pink one, which this pink one has a plastic chassis to it. So other than the glass, we're not going to swap much else out. As you can see, that we're going to put that chassis aside. Now I'm going to use the gray interior from the stock rod car and also the chassis, of course the wheels. Now there's two tabs in the front I neglected to notice. You got to put those in the holes so it'll line up and then it'll fit. Now you would think that because these are very identical cars, that everything would fit exactly the same from one to another. Turns out that's not true. As you can see here, putting the metal chassis on the metal body isn't the same as the way it was inserted into the other body. There seems to be a gap that I'm going to have to work on. So now I'm moving on to doing a little detail work on the interior. I'm going to paint this center console black just to give it a little contrast in the interior. It's the one thing I never like about die-cast cars is the interior is always the neglected area of the vehicle. You never get much detail there. Alright, so we tinted out the back window. more like just painted it black, but from the inside. So let's reattach it to the body of the car. I'm going to get that glued in. Add a little bit of detail to the bottom side. Paint up a few spots here on the chassis. We're going to paint up the exhaust as well. I like this Model Master Silver. Works out great for metal parts and stuff like this where it's the mufflers that hang out a little bit underneath the back of the car. You'll be able to see them, so why not touch them up a little bit and make them a little more visible. And now I'm going to take a toothpick and we're going to take the acrylic flat black. I'm going to dip it inside each one of these wheels. And I'll just kind of drag the paint around and spread it throughout the inside. And then once we get it evenly coated, all that'll be left is the chrome center and the outer ring. And we'll have blacked out rally wheels, Corvette rallies. This is Stingray hubcaps, technically. But it should look good on the car. Give it another touch of realism. Just got this one last wheel to do. We'll let these dry for a little while. So now we're going to take a little bit of the silver and I'm going to do some accenting on the engine, which we've already coated in a Chevy orange. This will give it a good look. And now I'm going to take a little bit of this Molotow and we're going to do the exhaust on the chassis in the Molotow chrome. And I like using this for that purpose. It gives it a certain kind of contrast with the other metal colors around it. Now, as most people have found that when they go to use the Molotow pen, the 1mm is very difficult to use because it leaks quite a bit after pumping it a couple times. So what I like to do is drip the excess into the cup and then drag it down the body of whatever you're painting with the tip of the pen. Works out pretty good. So as long as we have it out, we're going to touch up these wheels. Get all the center caps and the chrome back to bright. And as long as I'm at it, I think I'm going to touch up some of the scuff marks on the rim itself. A couple of the outer lips seemed like they had gotten scratched. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this and we're going to do the steering wheel. Sorry, I tend to get out of frame when I'm doing detail work. So we got the steering wheel there, and now we're going to do a little bit on the center console as well. That should do it. Give it a nice trim look. So now that the silver's dried, we're going to go back to the engine and give it a little bit more detail. I'm going to take this Tamiya gloss black and we're going to put a little bit of black on the valve covers. Should add a little more depth to the engine, and it'll give you something to look at. On die casts like this one especially, when the hood does open, it's kind of cool to see, a little realism under there, even though it's a tiny little car, it's not real, it's a toy. But it's pretty cool to see subtle detail done. And most of the manufacturers, they never take the time to add that into the vehicle. Of course, it'd probably add a couple dollars to the price of each one of these things as well. But just for myself, I like to go at least one step further than the manufacturer did. All right, so now let me start the other side. We'll get both valve covers here done. And once this dries, we'll add the air cleaner and the water pump back onto here and glue them on. And then we'll put all this back together. Get the chassis back mounted onto the body, get the wheels in. And there's our quick 1 day swap. So here you have it, the pink 63 Corvette. All we did was a quick chassis and wheel swap, and engine of course, and no paint. Nice engine detail to stand out in that engine bay. Chassis detail underneath, give it a little bit of more realism. Few coats of clear to make that pink pop. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you guys subscribing.